true crime with strategic eyes.
Strategic back again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our fourth live of the day. We are covering the ish out of this case because we want to make sure that you guys are up to date with all the information that we're getting, as well as the information that you're getting as well. So if you have received any information or anything like that, please do email strategiceyeshow@gmail.com. And yes, this has been emotionally and physically taxing. I am tired as hell right now. I'm tired.
Does that make sense?
But it's all good because we got work to do, and we're going to be giving a voice to the voices like we usually do on this channel. We're going to get to the bottom of this. So anyway, new video has been released in regards to this assassin of Charlie Kirk. I want to jump right into it. I want to keep you guys too long. I just want to give you what you need, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow.
So we're going to queue up the video right now. Show that. I've asked Commissioner Beau Mason if he would narrate to you what is happening in this video.
Thank you, Governor. Beau Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety.
All right, guys, before we jump into this new video, please do hit that like button, support the channel. We need your support so we can get into that algorithm.
If you look up to the top left, you'll see the building where the shooter was proned out in the top left corner.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and play that video, and I'll narrate as we walk through that.
All right, he starts running.
So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's going to come out on the right, moves to this far right corner.
Right.
As he does, he's going to climb off the edge,
okay,
and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA.
Wow,
There's
that's a
shoe
fall.
imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse.
That's definitely a very high jump that he did to get off of that roof. Interesting. You can see he has a rifle in his hand as well. Let's go back just a little bit. You can see he has a rifle in his hand.
As he does, he's going to climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable.
Well, what I don't know is where's this tactical gear that people are saying that he had? Like, we heard the description from law enforcement. There was a specific law enforcement officer who basically read out a description that said he was wearing tactical gear, helmet, all that stuff. I mean, where is that? It just shows you how much misinformation flies around in the heat of the moment when these things are so fresh. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust law enforcement, can't trust civilians. You can't trust anything when these things are fresh off the presses, man. It's misinformation galore. Let's keep
items
going.
that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it and a pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for and try to identify if they know someone who has those items, who has been seen wearing those items. We're looking for all that information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grassy area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right.
Here's that limp again. You saw that limp? You're going to see that limp again later. Some people saying he had the limp because he placed the gun inside of his pants. Now, I'm wondering, as he's walking, did he put that gun back into the pants? Because that's allegedly how he transported it to the incident location. I think he might have, because you see him kind of like doing something as he's walking over the grass, and then the limp comes back. I think the limp is because there's a gun in his pants. Let's take a look. Let's see.
You're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it and a pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for.
It's like I guess that's the towel. I don't know. I'm assuming. It could be a shirt, could be anything, but he did leave the gun in the woods in a towel, allegedly, according to the FBI. So that might be a towel that's in his hand. just trying to figure out what he did with the gun. And we have almost 250 people watching this live stream, only 82 likes. We can't do business like that, people. It's not easy doing what we do. This is my 4th live of the day. So please do hit that like button. Let's get us into the hundreds at least. Let's do it.
Identify if they know someone who has those items, who has been seen wearing those items. We're looking for all that information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grass area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right.
I don't know what he's doing. It looked like he might be hiding a gun at that point. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
After he crosses the street, this is where he moves over into the wooded area. This is the video evidence that we utilize to track his movements and to locate that firearm in that wooded area following the discovery of this evidence. You want to go to the stills? So here's the still photographs. I mentioned these have been enhanced. So these are slightly different than what we introduced earlier. Please pay close attention to the t-shirt. Like I said, very distinctive with that American flag and that eagle.
All right, so guys, like he said, these are enhanced. They are different than the photos that we had earlier. It's just because they enhanced it using their AI and other technologies, okay? So same pictures, just this is of better quality because it's been enhanced. Keep going.
The hat with the triangle and the sunglasses. If you go to the next picture, please. The backpack as well. All identifying features that we're hoping the public can help us identify and lead us to this suspect. Next picture. And again, there's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again, the t-shirt. Blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well. We have pushed these out, we'll continue to push these out, and we just ask for the public's cooperation through the public. The tips that have been coming in are what are giving us our next leads and enabling us to continue to further this investigation. We've had great cooperation from the public, and we're continuing to ask for that as we move forward. Thank you, and I'll turn time back over to Governor Cox.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mason. I want to thank Director Patel and his team. It's great to have them on the ground with us tonight. We've had several briefs.
I was a little disappointed with Patel when he tweeted out that they actually found the guy. Listen, we make mistakes all the time, but listen, I'm a one-man show, pretty much with the help of the research crew. You would expect that you would be able to definitively report to the FBI director that you have the person so that he does not return with egg on his face to say, well, we don't have him. As a seasoned law enforcement officer, he should know that he should wait and take his time. Like if he's a YouTube commentator, which he was a YouTube commentator, then you could make mistakes. It's okay if I make a mistake as long as I come out and I say I made a mistake. If I know I made a mistake, I'm going to say I made a mistake. If I don't know, then I can't apologize for what I don't know. But he's the head of the FBI. He's the head of the FBI. And for him to come out and say that they found the person, it caused a lot of confusion, especially when there are rumors, unsubstantiated rumors so far. But there are rumors that somebody called 911 and was not following close by, but had the shooter in eyesight. And they told that person, don't worry about it. The shooter has been caught. I don't know how true that is. We just saw a video just now. Do you see anybody else following this guy? I don't know. They could be on the other side of this building.
Climb off the edge.
I don't know.
And then drop down to the ground. As
there are people there.
Left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint.
I don't see anybody on his tail, but that's what the rumors are, that they thought they had the person in their sights, and then they were told back off because the shooter has already been apprehended. And, that's part of the misinformation that kind of like bubbles out when you have these active situations. Big shout out to everybody who's watching the show. Please make sure you hit that like button. And big shout out to Amy Zora, who's upgraded her membership to a white shield level. We appreciate you. Let's keep going.
Next leads and enabling us to continue to further this investigation. We've had great cooperation from the public, and we're continuing to ask for that as we move forward. Thank you, and I'll turn the time back over to Governor Cox.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mason. I want to thank Director Patel and his team. It's great to have them on the ground with us tonight. We've had several briefings, and he's had an opportunity to walk the crime scene. We appreciate our local.
Somebody said that the Patreon picture that I posted, if you have a Patreon, you saw a picture I posted. I don't know. It's subject to change. That photo could have been doctored or altered. I'm not sure. Everything is preliminary right now, people. Everything that you hear from YouTubers, everything you hear from the news is all preliminary, all right? So maybe, I mean, the photo that we have on it, that we posted on the Patreon may not be an accurate photo. I don't know. I am not going to sit here and tell you guys that I have all the answers. I'm following this and developing this along with you guys, all right? And so we're going to get a lot of things right, and we're also going to get some things wrong because it's all developing right now. And I think it's kind of fun when we're kind of doing this together as a true crime community. All right, it's one thing when I have all the answers because the court documents are there and all that stuff. We're actually investigating this together, hunting this guy down collectively as a country, really. So I'm having a good time, but I'm just make sure that it's out there. Everything is just preliminary. So we're all going for a ride right now.
Local law enforcement here. Again, we have Mike Smith, who is the county sheriff here. We have all of our local chiefs of police that are here as well, all working hand in hand with the state and with the FBI as we move forward with this investigation. Now, just give you a little warning, we will not be taking any questions at this time. We're giving you the latest information we have, being as transparent with everything that we have. But I do want to share a couple things that I think are important. We cannot do our job without the public's help right now. The public has answered our call for action. So far, we've received more than 7,000 leads and tips. I would just note that the FBI hasn't received this many digital media tips from the public since the Boston Marathon bombing. This case also highlights the dedication of our law enforcement community. We have 20 federal, state, and local law enforcement partners that are working shoulder to shoulder to find the person who committed this horrific crime. With their support, we've completed nearly 200 interviews. As you're aware, as has already been reported, the FBI.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next video. I hear people saying that some of these images are AI. I don't know. I'm getting sleepy. So when I get sleepy, I get cranky. I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know. The FBI just said that they enhanced a video. I don't know if they used AI to enhance that video. I have no idea. No idea. Somebody says, how's your vacation going? What vacation? We've been working this entire time on this show. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'm gonna see if there's anything probative on this one. I think Kash Patel talks to see if he talks.
Perpetrator and holding him accountable, and we need your help to do that. Thank you.
I guess he's not gonna talk. Okay, we got more for you though. All right, so here's the TMZ video that's been widely circulating that shows him both pre and post incident, right? And then you do have some photos over here, kind of get a better image of him. But let's go ahead and check that TMZ video out. And this is, I guess, post where he's walking behind the building. Let's take a look again because I want to see like his gait. I'm wondering, like, yeah, he's got a rifle in it. He can't extend his knee. He clearly has a rifle in it. He can't extend his knee. Wow. Yeah, this is before the incident. Like, if this happened afterwards, then we could surmise that he's walking that way because he injured himself when he jumped off of the building. This is before. He clearly has something in his pants. Now, this is him after the shooting. Very interesting. Big shout out to MM Claire celebrating 12 months as a patrol member on our membership. We appreciate you. Now, TMZ is kind of going through their own scandal. I don't know what to believe about it. I think I'll play it just for the hell of it before we move on to the next videos. But, you know, TMZ is saying, like, so when they found out that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, it appears that members of their staff were laughing in the background. And then they said, well, they weren't laughing at Charlie Kirk. They were laughing at a car chase that they were watching. Let's see if we can hear. So it looks like this is just the apology. Let's see if they'll show us the actual laughing, and then we'll see like what were they watching.
Go to were live.
So that was the laughing. I wish this person who would have did this clip would have did it just a little bit longer, but that was the laughing. So the longer clip is, I didn't have it queued up because I wasn't going to cover it, but since it's right here, I'm just talking about it. The longer clip, they're like, what? Charlie Kirk got assassinated? What? He got shot? And they're kind of like trying to figure out more information. And in the background, these folks are laughing and cheering. And so now this is their apology. So let me know if you think that their apology is sincere.
Streaming all day during this tragedy. When something happened in our office, as we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not. They would not work here if they did.
And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing, and for that we are sorry.
These guys aren't really aging that well. No disrespect, because I'm getting up there in the age too, but they look stressed.
Apologize. We apologize.
I get
that you
why-
had to hear that.
And I get why, if you're watching the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about. We assure you it was not about that, but it was horrible timing. And
By the way, I get it too, and he gets it because we listened as we were talking.
you can go back and look on the stream. I actually walked off camera to go back and find out what the hell was going on, because it was inappropriate for the laughter at that time. But no one was laughing about the Charlie Kirk tragedy.
Nevertheless, we apologize for the way it sounded.
All right, let's see here.
We're showing you right.
This is what they were allegedly watching that caused them to laugh.
There on the banner below, you can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead, Philip.
Well, I wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is the breaking news that we are likely about to have with ABC News. He was shot in Utah at a
This is the most hilarious police chase I've ever seen in my life.
college there. We've been talking about that.
So while they're watching this police chase, remember, the best lie is a half truth. Only idiots tell completely made up stories. Keeping track of a completely made up story is a fool's errand. That's how you easily are exposed as a liar. See, pathological liars, they mix the truth with a lie. So we're watching the clip that TMZ says that they were watching at the time when they were laughing at a car chase, but not at Charlie Kirk. And in this clip that we're watching, the news is interrupting their coverage of the car chase to let everybody know that Charlie Kirk has died. So the half truth is that they were watching a car chase, but it's highly possible that they were laughing and reacting to the audio reporting of Charlie Kirk dying. Car chase is playing. News anchor is reciting verbally what's happening with Charlie Kirk. And now, allegedly, it's quite possible they were laughing and cheering over the news that Charlie had died. I don't know if I believe them. What about you guys? I don't have any proof of it. So I can't say Harvey's not telling the truth. If somebody said Harvey's 75 years old, if Harvey is 75 years old, I take that back. He looks amazing for his age. I'll tell you that. If he's 75 years old, I don't follow these guys. I'm not a big fan of TMZ. They do break a lot of news, but I also don't like the whole stalking of celebrity stuff. Like I'm real big on that don't bear false idols stuff. I don't know. The older I get, the closer to God I'm getting. I'm sorry. But I don't worship celebrity. So that aspect of their organization I have no interest in. But I do respect the fact that they're always breaking news on things that are like major cases. They'll break news. And so the whole chat is saying he is in fact 75. I do take that back. That man looks amazing for 75. I thought Harvey was like 40-something, 50 years old. I don't know. But anyway, let's keep going. So yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe that they weren't laughing at the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed. And listen, it's okay to disagree with this guy. No time on this channel did True Crime with Strategic say that I'm a Charlie Kirk fan. I just respect this man's humanity, and I don't understand how people are celebrating this tragic unaliving of another human being in such a vicious and disgusting way. I mean, how can anybody watch the video of the actual shooting and not leave profoundly hurt, impacted, and sad with what happened? I don't know. How can these people who proclaim themselves to be good people laugh and cheer at the news that somebody who has committed no crimes, their only crime is saying things that made people uncomfortable, deserves to die? I remember when I was a young man. We're going to keep going. I apologize. I was a young man, and I went on a double date with these two cousins. I was dating a cousin, and my boy was dating the other cousin. And we dated these girls for a few years, so it wasn't nothing that was bull crap. It was like real relationship for little kids. I had to be like maybe 16 or 17 years old. I honestly forget. And we went to Central Park, and I wanted to do one of the horse and carriage rides. I thought that would be really, really romantic and would really get me some cool points and some brownie points with my date. And in turn, my boy would get the same brownie points with his date, right? So I went up to one of the guys that, I don't know, what do they call those guys? The guys that's driving the horse and buggy or whatever. And I said, "Excuse me, sir," and I said it just like this because I was a very respectful kid. I was a very respectful kid when I was young. I said, "Excuse me, sir, how much for a horse and carriage ride?" And he said, "What did you say, N-word?" It's a Caucasian guy. "What did you say, N-word?" I said, "Huh?" I said, "No, I just wanted to know how much for the horse and carriage." I totally didn't process to me that he called me the N-word. Then he said, "I don't give rides to N-words." He's like, "What, you want to rob me, you N-word? Huh? I know you probably just want to rob me, you N-word. Get the F out of my face, you N-word. Get the hell out of here, N-word." I was like, wow. It's the first time I had cried in a long time as a teenager. I didn't cry that much, and I cried. To this day, it still affects me, the vitriol that I remember seeing in that man's eyes as he spoke to me. I would not wish death upon that man. I don't know what he was going through at the time. I don't know if he had mental illness. I don't know if he had gotten robbed before and by somebody who looks like me and he's traumatized. Wouldn't be an excuse for his actions, but it could be things. I don't know. I don't know what evil lurked in that man's soul and his spirit to do that to a young person who at the end of the day just wanted to enrich him by paying him for his service. I don't know. But as angry as his actions made me, as much as his actions traumatized me for a long time and impacted the way that I interacted with people who didn't look like me, made me fearful at times to interact with Caucasian people as a young person. Of course, I grew out of it. But when stuff happens to young people whose brains are still developing, there's no telling how they're going to process that kind of trauma. Sorry. I'm not emotional. I just literally have a scratchy throat. The bottom line is, I would not wish negativity, harm, or hurt on that man who tried to take away my dignity. My very dignity. I would not wish that on him. So how do people wish harm on Charlie Kirk just because he told you he didn't believe in abortion? Just because he told you he didn't agree with DEI? Just because he told you he didn't want trans people in girls' bathrooms? You don't have to agree with him. I didn't agree with 90% of what he said, but he still had a right to say it. How about you explain why DEI is necessary if that's what you believe? How about you explain why trans women and men should be able to go to whatever bathrooms they want to go to, and you debate that? How about you explain and you debate these things? You fight his words with words. You don't resort to violence. So why is it that some people who proclaim themselves to be good people have no qualms wishing death upon another human being, but they still believe that they can maintain their moral high ground? I don't know how that works. Because to me, you play in the mud, you get dirty. You look into the abyss stares back at you. Sometimes it pulls you in. So these people are playing with the abyss. And I don't know if you could live that double life. You know, one thing I hear, and I tell you guys, be very wary about this, and I'm going to try and temper me talking about religion. I'm going to really try my best to not bring that into this channel as much, but sometimes it feels like it's the only solution out here. You know, whenever I don't go to church all the time. I don't go to church much at all, really. I work on Sundays. You know? But God is in my soul. I believe and I love God. One thing they preach in my church, at least, is the devil's not going to come before you as a wolf. You meet the devil is going to look weak, meek, intelligent, cunning, savvy. They might even be an activist type person. They might be somebody who's pretending to fight for other people. The devil's not going to show you his horns. I wonder how many of these people who proclaim themselves to be good are probably exactly the opposite. Because evil will never show itself for what it truly is. Like they say in the islands, and this person said it in the chat, the devil will come as a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I'm wondering, I'm challenging people, look at yourself in the mirror. If you proclaim yourself to be a good person, but yet you're okay with a man almost getting his neck shot off, you're okay. You could watch Charlie Kirk take a bullet to the neck and see gallons of blood gushing out all over the stage in front of his friends and his family and supporters. You could see that and still say, yeah, it's all right, because he said things that made me upset. It's okay, because he said things that made me upset. You got to check yourself. Really got to check yourself.
Throughout the afternoon here, you probably know that it has happened. But if you've seen the images, let's go to a special report with ABC News.
With us, the president saying Melania.
And then you know what? Let's go to the next video. Who else did they kill because of their words? So they took out Charlie Kirk now because you didn't like what he was saying. Like I said, I didn't like everything he was saying either, but I don't want him dead. Took out Charlie Kirk because you don't like what he's saying. Who else did they take out? They took out Martin Luther King because they didn't like what he was saying. Because towards the end of his life, he wasn't even talking about race anymore. He was talking about classism. And he was getting ready to mobilize poor, underprivileged, and underserved Caucasian people. And they looked at him and said, if he can mobilize Caucasian people the same way he's mobilized black people, he could bring them together Everything we're trying to build up right now to control the masses will get torn down. Once these people realize that they're stronger together than apart, oh no, that man's a problem. He's dead. They killed Martin Luther King. They killed JFK when JFK was talking about we got to end this apartheid system that we have in America. Oh, they killed him something serious. Killed him from far away, just like this guy. Just like Charlie Kirk. They killed him from far away. When there was a black man who was saying, listen, man, I don't want no problems with Caucasian people, but if you come step on my toe, I'm going to step on your toe back. Oh, his name was Malcolm X. When he was talking like that, they didn't have a problem. But when he started saying, you know what, I had a problem with Martin Luther King at first, but now I'm realizing I think Martin Luther King was right, and I want to start changing my tone and organizing with Martin Luther King and trying to bring people together to fight the ruling elite that's really oppressing us. Well, guess what? They killed that dude too. When he was saying he would shoot white people who tried to hurt him, nobody cared. But the moment he started wanting to preach peace, they shot him too. So you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose out here. Because they're killing everybody who's trying to make a difference in this country. Everybody who's trying to make us think. Whether you agree with them or not, the people who try and make us think, they kill them. They kill Charlie Kirk. They kill Martin Luther King. They kill Malcolm X. They kill everybody who tries to make us think. But some of you guys, you're so ignorant to how this world really works. You allow yourself to get brainwashed by the ideology that they feed you. And so a man can be eviscerated right in front of you. And you don't even have any empathy left to realize that you just witnessed a terrorist attack. And now you have good, well-meaning people, supposedly, sympathizing with a terrorist. You have a man who's just a capitalist, who's a CEO of a healthcare company, walking down the street, a father, and he gets obliterated, and you got people glorifying the person who killed him, and the person who killed him is a person that is 10 times richer than him. Yeah, I'm going to make some of you guys mad because you guys love that guy. What's his name? I don't even try to remember his name. He's just a murderer to me. What's his name? What's the healthcare killer guy? Somebody in the chat help me out. Mangione. There we go. Mangione net worth is more than the CEO dude at the healthcare company. Mangione was an heir to tens of millions of dollars. His family are almost billionaires. Luigi. And he murders a guy on the street. And you guys worship him. Not as a criminal, not as a terrorist, but as some type of freedom fighter. Man, you guys, the devil is alive out here, man. The devil is alive.
To that round going down range, it's not going to drop.
This dude Luigi has nothing in common with most of us. Ivy League, private school educated, living in a rich manner. Has nothing in common with the rest of us. But yet, for some of you, he's your leader.
A lot, but it still will. Nancy, he scored a shot in the neck at that distance, and it was instantaneous. I think that God rest his soul, I think Charlie was probably deceased by the time he hit the ground.
Absolutely.
Some of the things that I saw relative to the lifting of the hands, he was having a neuromuscular response in that instance.
Yeah, I told you guys that in my previous live. He was gone the moment he hit the deck, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen all manner of people getting shot, stabbed, the whole nine. The last show I told you guys how I was holding a guy's guts in my hands. I was trying to shove his guts back into his stomach, and it was a fool's errand. That guy lived, by the way. He did live. I've seen it. I've seen it all. And I'm telling you, he was gone the moment he hit the deck. Mind you, by the way, big shout out to Nancy Grace. I forgot to shout her out. don't like using people's content without shouting them out. This is Nancy Grace. I don't know who's talking. We're going to find out in a little bit probably. Let me go back a little bit just to make sure I know who this guy is. What's this guy's name? Oh, boy. This is the guy right here. Let's see if we get
to his neck.
Yeah, it's kind of raised like this. Where
I
you're
thought he
clutching
did
the
that
thumb.
intentionally, that he knew what had happened, but you're
Go back
saying
a
it was
little
just
bit.
a.
I'm going to go back to the 10-minute mark. Let's get some context here. So I love Nancy
Genius.
Grace.
I think
she's doing a great job. And this guest is going to do an amazing job explaining a lot of this, walking us through this. Big shout out to the research crew for recommending us play this. All right, let's do it.
that God rest his soul, I think Charlie was probably deceased by the time he hit the ground. Some of the things that I saw relative to the lifting of the hands, he was having a neuromuscular response in that instance. And of course, this copious amount of blood that's issuing from his body.
Wait. Now,
Yeah.
hold on. You're saying it was a neuromuscular response.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he took his right hand and put it up to his neck.
Yeah, it's kind of raised like this. Where
I
you're
thought he
clutching
did
the
that
thumb.
intentionally, that he knew what had happened, but you're saying it was just a muscular
No.
response?
Let me give you a good example. If you ever watch football, which I watch a lot, if you ever see one of the players on the field,
Somebody in the chat said his name is Howard Brum. Howard Brum. All right, I'll take his word for it. Whoever said it in the chat, thank you, Howard Brum. We'll run with that.
take a shot to the head or to the neck, you will see them kind of clench their thumbs like this, and they'll lay down on the ground. And many times that's an indication that you've had your bell rung. Well, if you think about this and you think about this round, think about where it went in, Nancy. It's to the left of the midline in the neck. If it's traversing like this, it's probably going to clip the spinal cord. And in that region, this is merely speculative on my part, but in that region, C4 and above, C4, C3, C2, C1, Nancy, those are unsurvivable injuries if that cord is damaged right there. So you're fighting two things. You're fighting blood loss, and you're fighting clipping of probably the spinal cord itself. That level controls whether or not your diaphragm is going to operate. C5, I think Kendall Crowns made this point. C5 below, you're talking about maybe being a paraplegic. But at that height where this round entered, I think that this was an unsurvivable wound.
Yeah.
We are also learning at this hour, LA law enforcement contacting people throughout the radius around the shooting site to determine if they have.
Hold on here. We have over 1,000 people watching this live stream right now. Can we please get those likes up? We want to get into the algorithm so that we can be seen to a wider audience. And if you're watching us for the first time, this is True Crime Strategic. I'm an active duty detective in the state of New York. And we just here to give a voice to the voiceless. If you could just subscribe to the channel, make sure you join us on this journey. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, we have less than 2,000 subscribers to go to get us to 100,000. So if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and at the very least, hit that like button and support the channel. Let's keep going.
Doorbell cams, any kind of cam. Now, interesting, Joe Scott, you brought up that you work at a huge campus.
Yeah.
Don't you know that the red lights, they've got to have cams on them for student safety? That place is drenched with cams. Don't you know it?
Oh, yeah, I know it. I can walk out the door. I'm here at the university right now. I can walk out the door onto campus, and immediately I'm staring. I'm being visualized by at least 3 external cameras, not to mention anything that's indwelling in the ceiling. And it all comes back to student safety. This is probably just from the perspective.
Somebody said his name is Joe Scott Morgan. You guys got to make up your mind. We'll figure out what his real name is. Let's keep going.
Of if you're not wanting to get caught, this is the worst possible place you could go, because out of every location around this area, I would imagine this thing is more intensely viewed than any other location in this little town. And there are camera angles all over the place. So that if he parked a vehicle, if he drove through any kind of lights, if he went past stores, if he went past churches. Remember we were going through this with Koberger, Nancy. Remember the ring that they were trying to, and that's very isolated out there where he was going. This is not. This is actually happening on a campus right here. It's not off campus housing.
Real quick. Oh, go back to that
Yeah.
picture. I want to show Joe Scott something. I've been to this area, and from where the shooting occurred, in 10 minutes, 12 minutes max, you're in the mountains. I wonder if he's pulling an Eric Rudolph, or is he just going to try to blend in and go back home like nothing happened, try to establish an alibi. But look, seriously, 10 minutes, you're in the wild. And here's an indicator, Joe Scott. The gun was found, the bolt-action gun was found in the woods. Is that the trail he wants us to think he's taken?
Yeah. And FBI has stated, at least in some of their release statements, they have stated that they believe that this was his area of exfil, where he is trying to leave the area, and so he drops the weapon right there, which, look, if this weapon...
I don't understand why he didn't leave the weapon on top of the roof. I mean, if you're going to put it in a towel in the woods, you should have known that the police would find it. So I would think that he would plan for that maybe he would, I don't know, be wearing gloves, make sure that he doesn't put any DNA on the gun or carry some alcohol or something like that can maybe degrade the DNA. He could wipe it down or something. I don't know. But to me, carrying the gun with him slowed him down, especially when on his descent from the roof, he's trying to like manage the gun and leveraging himself on the edge of the roof. I think you leave the gun and you just ditch it, that you incorporate that into your escape plan. That would have made a whole lot more sense to me than you're taking the gun from the scene and dumping it in an area that you should know the police are going to search and that they're going to find a weapon anyway. I don't know.
Weapon that he's carrying, if it is the weapon I'm thinking it is a Mauser. It's a Mauser 30-06. It's merely a 30 caliber. When you hear 30-06, 06 means that this round was actually developed in 1906.
Yeah.
It's actually the same round that we used in World War I and World War II. This is a lethal round meant to take out personnel with. People hunt with it now, deer, elk, even bear. It's a robust round, Nancy. And what would be the purpose of dropping the weapon behind? I think you make a good point here when you say, is this what he is wanting people to believe? One other thing here, Nancy, this guy appears very confident.
All right, just to let you guys know, this style of weapon was invented in 1906, but this gun is not from 1906. This style is still made today widely by a number of different manufacturers. And it's basically like the standard hunting gun. It's affordable, it's cheap, the bullets are relatively decently priced, and its reliability has been tested for well over 100 years, okay? And initially, it was a military gun. This was a gun that was used in World War I to great effect, and hunters use it, like he said. We spoke about this in a previous live, so I'm not repeating what he says. He's repeating what I said that he didn't hear me say because we're not on the same show. I'm just joking. Bottom line is, this is a very widely produced gun that's easy to purchase. And because it's a rifle, for some places, it might be easier to purchase this gun than if you went and tried to purchase an AR-15 or some other type or M4 platform or something like that. A lot of places have very loose restrictions on these type of hunting guns. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out what is the history on this gun. Of course, they have the gun, so now they have, the unique identifying serial number on that gun, and they'll be able to now trace back who purchased the gun, who the gun is licensed to, etc. And we'll be able to get a little bit more insight into who this person may be. But that stuff does take time, and that's why they're going through multiple different avenues. That's why my thing is, if you dump the gun, that means that the gun should not have the ability to be traced back to you. So I would feel like it's a ghost gun or it's a stolen gun if he left it on the roof. Who cares? I wipe off my prints, my DNA, whatever. I don't care if you find the gun because you can't trace it back to me. But by him taking the gun with him and at least coming off the roof with it and then finally dumping it in the woods, it makes me feel like the gun was a liability to him. He could not ditch the gun because it was a liability. If the gun is a liability for him, that means that that gun could be traced back to either somebody he knows or to him himself. Let's keep going.
What he is doing. I really wonder if he has help. I really wonder if there are other people that are kind of guiding him along. How did he get away?
I got a good idea.
Yep.
What about this, Joe Scott? If a dog can pick up a scent around that gun or in the sniper's nest, did the scent head back to, say, a parking lot or a roadside where someone could have picked him up? Let's think this through. Is he a lone wolf, or did he have some like-minded buddies or buddy helping him, say, a getaway car?
Let me answer that question for you, Nancy. By the way, a big fan of you, Nancy Grace. Been watching you since I was a young tyke, and you've been doing it consistently for decades. So big shout out to you, Nancy. But Nancy, it's amazing to have you on my show today, and I want to answer that question for you. True Crime with Strategic believes that he was a part of a cabal. Can I use cabal in this situation? I think this was an organization. I believe that this was planned, that there were multiple people who were a part of this. I do not believe that he did this by himself. I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's keep going. Does that answer your question, Nancy?
Right now, we already know, as of tonight, about 150 tips have been called in already. So, has anybody recognized him? This photo's only been out a few hours.
Right. Yeah. And that shirt with whatever this
What about the dog idea?
Well, yeah, going back to the dog idea, they would have had, I think that they probably would have had to have hopped on this really quick, because this is a highly trafficked area, Nancy, around the campus itself. Now, off campus, a little bit different.
What about the gun? What about around the gun?
Yeah, around the gun, you could, and again, we don't know exactly. They're just merely saying an adjacent wooded area. Well, you know, I don't know how trafficked that area is. It would be wise on their part. I hope that they lock that whole area down if they could get a dog in there and pick up on a scent relative to this. And did he leave anything behind on that roof? You know, if he, and again, we don't have video of him like leaving. That's going to be important, because that would mean that the weapon would be in his hand as he's leaving. This Mauser platform, if it's the one I'm thinking about, some of these you can pick up really cheap. It's got a wooden stock. They're not easy to break down.
Right.
If we're talking one that's, and a lot of these things are for sale out there, you can buy them pretty readily. And their circuit, Nancy's like 1950. Just, you know, kind of wrap your mind around that. And there's tons of these things out there. And this old bolt action platform.
Listen, I have never seen this video before. I'm reacting to it for the first time, and what he's saying is 100% correct. The same thing I'm saying. These are widely circulated guns, man. Like these, there's so many of them out there. Some people have them in their gun cabinet and don't even touch it. Sometimes people are passing them down to their kids. Like there's so many of, you can go buy new variations of it. You can find old ones. They also don't hold their value. So an old one, unless it's like from 1906, you know, if you got one from like the 1950s, the 1940s, the 1960s, 70s, 80s, whatever, they're not going to hold their value. You probably get them even cheaper. You know, you get them for $100. They're not expensive rifles. You get a brand new one for like $400. A brand new one is $400. Let's keep going.
Because a lot of guys, they're inexpensive and you can hunt big game with them. So you can walk into a gun show.
Hey, what about this, Joe Scott? This will give you a window into this guy's mind. It's an echo of Luigi Mangioni's murder of the healthcare boss. Listen to this now. This is from the ATF. They are badass. Okay, technical legal term. They found the ammunition recovered with the rifle used to kill Charlie is engraved with statements expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. Well, I don't know. Is that real? Or did the shooter do that to throw LE, law enforcement, off the track?
It's possible.
I mean, this guy took the time to write on the ammo.
Yeah, but you know who else did that? The trans shooter, and I'm not saying trans shooter in any way to denigrate the trans community. Everybody who watches the show knows that we are a supporter of the LGBTQ community. We're all brothers and sisters. We love everybody here on True Crime Strategic. But it's a fact that this individual was a transgendered shooter, the most recent shooter that we just had. And I forgot his name, Robin something or something like that. He did the same thing. He inscribed words on the magazines and I think the cartridges as well, but at the very least the magazines. I read them. They're on my Patreon. It was very disturbing. But yeah, he did that too. It seems to be a trend that these folks are doing stuff like that for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they're inscribing, their manifestos on their guns. I'm looking at the pictures right now. He says, end the president, RIP and tear. It's a whole bunch of stuff he said. Let me see what else he said here. Of course, he had stuff about the LGBTQ community, his support for it. Robin Westman, that was his name, Robin Westman. Sponsored by BlackRock, killer sadist. So he wrote all of that on the magazines of the weapon that he used to carry out this church shooting that occurred. So it's not out of the ordinary that somebody might engage in that type of activity. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm glad that he did. And this is why. First off, it gives us a little insight, if it is his, into the way his brain works. But also from a forensic standpoint, Nancy, question documents here. If in fact he wrote on these, and these aren't stickers or something that was generated, he actually wrote on it. We've got another element of physical information that we can tie back to him just merely based on his writing.
That's true. They could do handwriting analysis, stuff like that. Check this out real quick before we go back to that. These are 30-odd sixes. $300, $364, $379. It's like a $300 gun, basically. Between $300 and $400. Most of them don't go above $400. If they do, just buy a couple dollars. Let's see what the cheapest 30-odd at 6 is. Let's see here. This is guns.com, by the way. The cheapest one is $249. And it's made by a reputable company, Remington. That's a very, very good company. I mean, this Remington is going to last you 100 years if you take good care of it. This is a 30-odd 6. Remington, $289. $289. Savage Arms, that's a Turkish company. I hear mixed reviews on their weapons. I would not recommend it. But this $299 Remington 770, excellent weapon. Excellent weapon. So this Mossberg right here, excellent weapon. Mossbergs are very good. Springfield Armory, excellent weapon, $329. So I just want to bring that to your attention, how cheap it is to get this weapon. And let me go back one more time. So this one actually comes with a scope, this Mossberg. So this one's $349, comes with a scope, and it's an extremely reliable weapon. And it comes with a scope. So you could definitely shoot from 200 yards with this scope. Bolt action, 30-odd 6. Easily obtainable weapon, guys.
You know, if we can get samples of the suspect in his writing, there's a high probability it's going to
wait a minute. I got to disagree with you on that. I disagree on that, and I'll tell you why. If he were writing on a piece of paper, sure. But when you're scratching something onto a bullet, that's hardly your mode of writing. He's not going to put a smiley face over the eye.
But just imagine if they presented him with a similar spent bit of ammunition and said, give us an example of your writing on here using this instrument. It can be paired up. I've seen it done. And so that's again, that's a possibility. Anytime you touch something, put your hand to it, you leave something specific about yourself behind. If he was so foolish to do this and leave this weapon behind, that's going to be another.
Somebody's asking if they found DNA. To be honest with you, the DNA testing, even when expedited, is going to take 48 to 72 hours. Expedited. Now, I don't know what kind of labs they're working with over there, but, you know, from where I work, where we have top of the line labs, world-class labs, world-class scientists working for our organization, when we get an expedite, it still takes them 2 to 3 days to get us expedited results. So unless the FBI is operating on a higher level, then, which I don't think it's really possible, because my organization, top of the line technology, I would say it's going to take them 48 hours to 72 hours to come back with that DNA. Guess what? This just happened yesterday. So I don't think they'll get DNA back in time. But let's say they get DNA back, guys. DNA does not identify people. DNA gives you a profile of who the person is. You have to do the police work to see if that profile matches the individual that you're after. So unless this individual has a criminal record and has DNA on file in CODIS or whatever, there's no way you could get a DNA profile. It's just going to say John Doe. That's all it's going to say. Later on, through other investigative means, and you arrest the person, and now you can get a court order, a search warrant to get their DNA. Now you can match that DNA against the towel and the rifle and say that this rifle and this towel was in the possession of the person that you've arrested. But if he doesn't have a criminal record and does not have DNA on file because he's a convicted felon, there's no way that they're going to know it's his DNA. They'll just get a profile that says John Doe on it. Let's keep going.
Another tieback. This is just helping prosecutors build a case here. Every little element along the way is going to help once they get their hands on this guy. If he's not.
Now, somebody brought up familial DNA. That is possible, but it's also, number one, very expensive, and number two, it takes time, and number three, you got to have family members that have DNA on file. So they either have to have DNA that they submitted to 21andMe, which you people are crazy, you folks who gave your DNA to 21andMe, because now law enforcement is buying all of that up. So your DNA profiles is now in the hands of private companies and law enforcement and the government. But unless they did a 21andMe, or you had somebody in your family who committed a felony, there's some people where they have nobody that they know about that's been convicted of a felony and is serving time in jail or has served time in jail. Remember, if you went to the county jail, that doesn't count. You don't give DNA for county jail stuff. You have to be a convicted felon in order to give DNA. So yet again, even if you're doing like an ancestry or whatever, it's highly likely you'll be able to hopefully work something out and get some type of match or a good lead, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. People have to either have opted and put themselves into these databases, or they have to have convicted felonies to have their DNA taken against their will and put into these databases. It's not guaranteed. That's all. I'm not trying to discount what people are saying. I'm just trying to let you know it's not guaranteed. Let's keep going.
Dead, and they get their hands on him, there is a mountain of evidence that's going to be presented.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you that, because we know they've got a foot impression, but this is my question about the forearm impression. This. How would you get that? Because he's going up the steps. He's got on a shirt, a long sleeve shirt. Is that covering up a tattoo? I don't know.
Yeah,
so how do you get a forearm? Yeah. And that's not going to show up in CODIS. Forearms are not in CODIS, so they'll have to get him, and then with a warrant, do a forearm comparison.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there you go. So Nancy just kind of said what I said, but let's keep going. I love it. I love it. That means, listen, Nancy is one of the greats. And so if I'm reacting to her stuff and I'm saying stuff and then she's saying it later on her video, that means I'm in the company of greats, man, and we thinking alike. So I'm loving it. Let's keep going.
That I've never heard of people doing a forearm comparison. However, I will say this.
Me either.
If this is in fact some kind of latent smudge that appears let me put this in legal terms, appears consistent with a forearm, what you can harvest out of that is certainly DNA. If he's sweaty, if he's oily,
Absolutely.
anything left behind on that non-porous surface, like if you look at the stairwell, particularly if he pulled his sleeve up, and we don't know what the location of this imprint is either. Nancy, if he was laying up on that roof and he had his sleeves up, remember, if he gets uncomfortable, he's in direct sunlight up there. He's trying to make himself as comfortable as he possibly can be as he's sighting in the target, who is Charlie Kirk, by the way. Is he readjusting his arms? Did he leave something on a surface up there where they were able to recover this, where they would go up in dust? Or maybe they just obliquely lighted this and they saw this kind of oily area.
So somebody said we could put a man on the moon, but we can't catch a killer in broad daylight. Listen, as a detective, I'm telling you, it's not as easy as you think it is. It's really not. It takes a lot of police work. And I have to say, although I was disappointed in the false alarms of Kash Patel and others saying that they found the people, these guys are doing a great job. They're doing a really good job. It's only a matter of time. But finding people is not easy. It's not easy. If I give you a caseload and I say, hey, listen, go find this perp, you'll then understand just how difficult it is to locate people and to trace people. They don't know who he is. He was a ghost before this. His purpose is to remain a ghost. They now have to do these canvases to try and recreate where he went. It's a lot of manpower, a lot of people who are involved in this. And typically, for cases that don't make the news, where the victims are not Charlie Kirk, you usually have 1 or 2 detectives doing this on their own. They don't have 500 people doing it. So think about how difficult it is when I'm off this vacation and I go back to work next week. Think about how difficult my day job is. When somebody comes in and says, man, I was sexually, I shouldn't have said that. You know how YouTube is. I was assaulted last night and I don't even remember where I was at. And I'm like, well, where's the last person to remember? Well, I was at the bar on this place. And then I got to start from that location because that's the last place they remember and start trying to track them all over town to see if I can finally find out where they were when they were assaulted and if they even were assaulted. Because believe me, as many times we find out that they just remembering stuff that didn't happen. But whatever, the bottom line is, it is not easy to do these investigations. So please have faith in law enforcement. Please understand they're doing what is typically an impossible job, which is finding people who don't want to be found. Just have a little faith, guys. All right, let's keep going.
He had, kind of touched that surface. I don't know. From a forensic standpoint, there's a lot of data here. I'm going to be fascinated to hear how this kind of all broke out for the team that went out there to recover all of this.
I have one answer for you, and it's significant. We're talking about the wooded area. It's not like many people have been supposing all evening that it's like up in the woods on that mountainous terrain. It's a wooded area just off campus. For all I know, it could be more like a park. For instance, campus ends, and then on the other side of the street, there are trees. But it's not rough terrain like up in those mountains. But again, his getaway was so easy. He could be at the airport in less than 20 minutes. He could be up in the mountains like Eric Rudolph did and led police on a wild goose chase. That was the Olympic bomber. He could go anywhere. But I'm just looking at him. He looks between 18 and 25. White male. Put his picture up again, please. I'm glad you showed that map. It shows a lot of tree green area. Look at what he's wearing. That T-shirt is going to be traced in a heartbeat. People are always saying, hey, where'd you get that T-shirt? To me. So we're going to find that T-shirt and where it's sold. This is, again, a white male. I would say between 18 and, what do you think, 26?
Yeah, I'd say,
Brunette hair.
in that age range, yeah. Yep, and he's clean shaven.
And
doesn't
wearing
have
that
a-
outfit with those jeans. I wish I could zoom in on the shoes to determine they almost look
Well,
from here
yeah.
like Converse.
I wish we could zoom in on the.
All right, real quick. I just got to interrupt just to ask you guys to please hit that like button. We have 1,400 people, almost 1,500 people watching this stream, but we only have 648 likes. So please hit that like button so we get into the algorithm and be shown to a wider audience. This is our 4th live stream for the day. I am very tired. I hope you guys recognize that, but I'm here because I appreciate you guys. You guys want the knowledge. You guys want the information. So I'm going to rise to the occasion and try my best to give you that information. And lastly, there's going to be a few people who are watching this stream right now who are not subscribed. Just hit that subscribe button. You don't have to pay for anything. It's perfectly free. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, support us. Okay, let's keep going.
The hat, because it looks like there's something center mass on the front of that hat as well. I think that probably the FBI has that ability to do that, super enhance that. Am I just misreading that, or does that look like some kind of emblem?
No, I can't make it out either, and I've been trying, but they will. They'll have that in no time. Come on, please.
Yeah.
NASA, step in. Do your magic. Okay,
NASA.
another question regarding forearm. Of course, there's no CODIS match. You don't take perps forearm print or their footprint. You take their fingerprint. But what you said, if they've got a forearm print, the temps were in the 80s, about 82 at noon. He was sweating. If they could see the print and get the print.
This is the thing. I think she might be a little mistaken because she keeps saying CODIS and prints. CODIS has nothing to my understanding. CODIS has nothing to do with fingerprints. CODIS is DNA. CODIS is I think it's combined DNA index or something like that. So I think she's talking about the wrong database. So, but what she's saying is correct. You can't match forearms with a fingerprint database, but you might be able to get some DNA. And I think you could, of course, put the DNA into CODIS and see if you get something. And even that is kind of like a little wonky. There's a lot of court stuff that kind of prevents you from just throwing stuff into CODIS to try and get matches. It's very complicated. But I'm just saying, CODIS is not the database that I think she really wants to mention. CODIS is only DNA. CODIS has nothing to do with fingerprints or forearm prints or impressions of any sort. But listen, we all make mistakes. Nancy Grace is one of the greats, and so we take nothing away from her. She's just mistaken on a database. Let's keep moving.
There's touch DNA explained. And once they get him, much like Brian Kohberger, they will then match that to him. It's happening. Explain.
Yeah, it is happening, and I submit to you, Nancy. Yeah, you could get touch DNA, which of course is the sloughing dead skin cells that we leave behind every single day. Jergens has made millions of dollars off of us for this reason. For dry skin, we lose skin cells all the time. However, if this is a transfer that is oil or sweat, you're not going to have partial DNA. You'll have a strand in there that's far more robust. Remember, touch DNA is degraded DNA. You've only got like a partial there. If this is some kind of bodily fluid that he left behind, sweat or oil, that's going to be a much more rich source. It's such an unusual statement by them to say that they have a forearm print. I'd really like to know, first off, what kind of surface was it on? How did they spot this? What areas were they dusting to come up with this? All of this is very intriguing. And if he's up there kind of loitering on that roof for a protracted period of time, the longer he's there, there's a higher probability you'll have multiple secretions, multiple surfaces that he could have touched, just even adjusting himself with his hands. And at this time, I don't know what that surface is like up there. Is it kind of gravel covered? Because in a lot of these government buildings like this, you'll see like tar paper laid down. There'll be a gravel covering on top of it. Did he have a shooter's
Yeah, I've
pad?
been wondering where they got the foot imprint. Hey, I've got something else for you. We
Yes,
know.
I definitely think that foot imprint probably would have come when he impacted the ground from the roof. I mean, that would have been the greatest amount of force that he would have exerted on the ground in anywhere that he went, probably for that whole day. So I think that that would probably be an excellent place to start. Let's go to some fan funding real quick before we jump back into this. And people saying I need to get some sleep. I am tired, but I'm rocking and rolling. I'm on vacation, all right? I got to get up tomorrow, put my son to school at 9 o'clock. It's all good. And then I can take a nap after that. Probably not, because there'll be breaking news for us to cover tomorrow. But whatever. The bottom line is I'm here. I'm rocking out with you guys. I'm not complaining, ladies and gentlemen. Amy Zora, who upgraded her membership to a white shield, big shout out to you. MM Clear celebrates 12 months as a patrol member. Underwater with a $1.99 super chat says, thank you for your time and common sense. And Deborah M with a $5 super chat says, how hard is that shot? It's not hard at all. We discussed that. That is not a hard shot with the type of rifle that he has. That rifle is designed for hunting game at long distances. You don't want to shoot a bear up close. You don't want to shoot a mountain lion up close. You don't want to shoot a deer that has their winter antlers out up close. This is a rifle that's made to shoot from very far distances with a very effective bullet on taking down large game. And I don't want to dehumanize a human being, but we would fall in that category as a large animal that this weapon is designed to take down, and 200 yards is not that far. It's not that far when you have a scope and you have a flat surface and you either have a tripod or you're using your hand to brace it. It's not far at all. And I think he actually missed, to be honest with you. I would most likely presume that he was looking for a headshot, and he probably missed. Maybe his breathing was off or his trigger pull jerked the gun just a tad bit, and he hit him in the neck instead of the head. Let's keep going. She says, would he have to practice? I can't. I think what she's saying, would he have to practice in order to make the shot? I'm sure that he has experience shooting. I'm not sure if he specifically practiced for this shot. I'm not sure. It's possible he could have went to a range and started practicing at the 200 and the 400 yard mark. Not sure. She says, was it a picky shot? I don't know what that means, a picky shot. I'm just real curious I pictured him to be more matured. I have no idea. I had no idea on what his profile could possibly be, whether he would be young or old. I had no idea, but it turns out that he's young. And if you just go in the chat and explain what you mean, a picky shot, I will definitely answer that question. Big shout out to Amy Zora with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you. You are appreciated. All right, let's get back to this.
That LE contacting people with door cams, but we've also learned in the last hours that law enforcement believes that they can trace him fleeing into a neighborhood, not up into the woods, not up into the mountains, not toward the airport that we know of yet, but into a neighborhood. And they say fleeing into a neighborhood. And many people have interpreted that to mean on foot. And they are asking for all the door cams from that neighborhood and adjoining neighborhoods. Look, this is what I always say when somebody skips bond. Go to mommy's house. Look under the bed.
Nancy's amazing. I love her. I love her showmanship and the way that she approaches her show and these topics. Good question from Rue Dare says, what happened at True Crime Strategic? What happens when you are on holiday and there is a huge development in one of your cases? Well, we have a feature in our electronic case management system that is called Team Members. And so although we work our cases alone, you do have partners and team members. And so if there's a large development in a case and if you're not away, like out of the country or out of the state, then, we're detectives. This is the sacrifice that we make for getting paid the big dollars and having the expertise. You'll come in and you'll handle your case. You work it out with the bosses. Maybe they'll extend your vacation for the days. So if you come in for a day, then maybe they'll give you an extra day. Or if you come in for 2 days, they'll give you extra 2 days. Whatever, it's a gentleman thing. We're adults. We're the creme de la creme. We're detectives. You don't have to babysit us. You work it out. If you're away or you don't want to come in, maybe you just really need that time and you don't want to interrupt your vacation, then your team members will assist you. All right, they'll work it for you. Like if it's an arrest or something, they'll process the arrest for you, whatever. We make it work, but we will not just not take action. I guess the answer is the development will not go unanswered and unaddressed. Somebody will address it. Either the case detective will address it or somebody else on that detective's team will address it. Let's keep going.
People go where they're familiar, okay? Easy example, Scott Peterson. He's a fisherman. He had fished San Francisco Bay 1,000,000 times, knew how to get into the marina. So where does he go? Not a leap of logic, straight back to where he's fished before. This guy went into a neighborhood that he knew, at the very least had cased as a getaway route. That tells me a lot. College age, white male, here he is. What do you think about the doorbell cams? Did he change clothes as he was running? Is there any time he took off that hat and those sunglasses? Because if so, it's over, Joe Scott.
Yeah. What if he, along the way, he's peeling clothes off and he's dumping them in the sewer drains? That's certainly a possibility. I've worked cases, Nancy, I know you've seen these come across your desk over the years, where you've got people that layer their clothing. We used to have this a lot in drug culture, where we would have a shooting, almost an assassination, and the person would walk up, shoot somebody, and they'd have like 3 layers of clothing on, and they just start peeling T-shirts off, pants off. They've got and so when you put out a script for them and you're looking for them with a bolo, they're not going to appear to be in the same. They're not going to have the same clothing on as when the crime was perpetrated. Did he think that far ahead? Also, this goes back to my earlier supposition that the person that pulled this off knew this area like the back of their hand. They were familiar.
So people are saying that they can't believe he got away. It is very sad. But we also have to remember that there were some actual decoys, whether they were coordinated decoys or just happenstance. They happened to be there and they were wingnuts. These type of events do attract a lot of wingnuts. But there were 2 guys that were basically acting like they were shooters. One, I believe, was found with an airsoft gun. The other one, and remember, this is an open carry state, so you can't arrest people for having guns. This is an open carry state. So one had an airsoft gun. It was determined that he's not the shooter and let him go. The other one was making statements like he was the shooter. He said, if I could do it again, I would do it. He said, shoot me. He says, arrest me. He was dragging himself on the floor when the police was trying to remove him from the area. We know who that is. That is the older Caucasian male. Forgot his name. Starts with an M, I believe. I could be wrong. Whatever. The bottom line is, these folks presented to law enforcement like they were the shooter, which then gave this guy space to get away because nobody's looking at that roof. Nobody's looking for escape routes because they believe that they already had the people that they needed to have in custody. So a lot happened here. This just didn't happen in a vacuum. A lot happened here that created the perfect circumstance for this guy to get away and just blend in with the crowd. So all this footage and all this video is happening after the fact. This didn't happen yesterday. This is happening last night and today and tonight and all that stuff. This guy had a few hours to get away before they realized, oh God, we don't have the shooter. The shooter's still at large. Everybody get out there and find the shooter. And a few hours is all you need to get out of any state in America. It's all you need. All you need to get out of that area is a few hours. And if you have a plane ticket ready, the police, the federal authorities don't know who they're looking for. So he could have gotten on a plane and got away. It's possible. It's possible. Change his clothes, get on a plane, get away. It is possible. It's possible this guy may not even be in this state right now. It is possible he may not even be in America right now. Let's keep going.
Familiar with that rooftop. They were familiar with, and mark this term down, line of sight as it applies to this assassination. You would have to know you have a clear firing lane through that. And, you know, Nancy, that shot right there, if you could just take a look at that, I don't know if y'all can freeze that or not, but when you look from the position of firing, Nancy, he fires. Just look at that window right there. See the people in the front forward of where Charlie's sitting? He has to put that round between the tops of their heads and that border of where it says "Prove me wrong" on that tent. He's got a very small window at a 200-yard range, and Charlie is seen being shot in the neck from that distance.
Yeah, but you look at Charlie, right? And he has elevated himself above the crowd. He's not sitting at table height. He's on a platform, an elevated chair, so he's sitting above the table and above the crowd. I think he made himself a really easy target. I mean, I don't want to say it like that. There's no victim blaming. I think the circumstance made him an easy target. Not he made himself an easy target, but rather the circumstance and the set design made him an easy target. Let's keep going.
That's full on accuracy. That gives you an indication that he's very comfortable with this area, because and he didn't practice shoot. Okay. This is not like he fired one shot and then, he fired another shot. No, this is a single round being popped off at that moment in time. In my opinion, this guy's probably practiced at what he's doing. I'm not saying he's a pro. He's familiar with this weapon system that he's using, which is kind of clunky. Yeah.
Question.
Yes,
With
ma'am.
a bolt action, can you break it down? Can you? Okay, here's a point of reference.
Yeah.
For those of you that haven't had to deal with firearms, guns can be broken down into, say, 2 or 3 pieces. So if you know how to do it, you can break the gun down and put it back together again. You've seen it on Jason Bourne. You've seen it on 007. Can you break down a Mauser .6?
It all depends on what generation. Yeah, it all depends on what the generation is. Most of the Mausers that you see floating around out there, I see them, have a wooden stock.
Yeah,
it requires.
I used to have a Mauser. It's a German gun, a World War II German gun. I had a Mauser 380. It was a good gun, but it kept jamming. Like, you put too many rounds through it, or start jamming. But yeah, they're older guns, wood stock, just like this guy is saying.
Specific set of tools, primarily a flathead screwdriver if you're looking at the older models. And it takes time to kind of break these things down. We haven't heard the full statement from LEO at this point in time as to the status of the weapon. We just know that they're saying we recovered a weapon. We don't know what the status of the weapon was. Was it broken down? The question is, was it broken down in order to get it to the roof and then reassembled on the roof, and then he's ready to go to work at that point in time? Takes the thing away intact, not broken down. Is it wrapped in something? Did he in fact, those are easier broken down depending upon the platform. This thing, a Mauser, is not easy to break down. So how did he get up there without being seen? How did he get off of there without being seen? He's got to take the weapon away and deposit it somewhere in this park-like wooded area adjacent to camp.
Okay, you can break down a Mauser, but the pieces are still really big. What I'm getting at is, could he have had the gun broken down in the backpack?
Could he have had it broken down in the backpack? I suppose he could have. I'd have to know the size of the backpack relative to accommodating both the barrel itself, which would have been semi-detached, and probably the stock. It's generally, the way it breaks down is you can drop the barrel off and you drop what's referred to as the lower receiver off, which is like the wooden stock. Those two things in 2 elements like that. There are more complex systems where you can take the butt of the weapon off. I've never seen that in a Mauser. It probably exists. There's so many different platforms out there. But in my experience with a Mauser, if you're going to break it down, two big elements remain, and they're still going to draw attention. And that's the last thing that somebody who's wearing sunglasses and dark clothing and a hat wants, to draw attention. You know why? And that brings us back to this other idea. If
All right, so we got a ton of alleged identified shooters. The internet is just going crazy. We're going to refrain from identifying anyone until this information is coming from the actual news, or the FBI or Utah authorities. But there's some interesting individuals that are being identified as possibly being a subject. I don't know. But this happens all the time when these type of situations happen. All right, so we're going to get out of here because I'm starting to crash, guys. We have 1,600 people watching the stream right now. Please hit the like button. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 subscribers. Excuse me, 1,000 likes before we get out of here. You guys are amazing. We do need those likes. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscription button. If you were just brought here because of the algorithm, if you like what we're doing here, I'm an active duty detective, and I'm just trying to give a voice to the voiceless. Just please hit that subscribe button. Join us, join our family, and help us on our mission. All right. That being said, we really appreciate everybody who's here today, everybody who kept the chat clean. Big shout out to all the moderators. I know they're working very hard, trying their best to make sure that we maintain our civility. Excuse me, my nose is stuffy. And as we talk about something that's very polarizing and also very sad, but I think it's easy for us to navigate this if we just, keep a grasp on our humanity. All right. So anyway, guys, we're going to keep bringing you updates as we get them. So make sure that your notifications are set to all so that when we get breaking news and we go live, you can be notified of that breaking news and you can join us and find out that information. Other than that, I think we have everything. I just want to give a shout out to Fan Funding. Nina Drew gave us a 99-cent super sticker. So that's the last one. All right, you guys are amazing, man. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Let me cue up that outro. Strategic. In fact, we're going to do the old outro today. Strategic is out of here. Peace.